yo, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? We're back again. Just want to say good evening, good Friday evening to everyone. And we're back again today. We have our co host that's out today. He's handling a family emergency, but we're still here and he's in listening mode. So we here, we still here. And today we want to go ahead and talk about healthy mental health. So we try to get everybody on the same page when it comes to mental health. We know we talk about that a lot, but we want to get everybody from just the topic into the actual dynamics of health mentally. So with that being said, today we have a special guest. We really glad to have her on, and she specializes in therapy. And I'm actually going to let her tell you guys what exactly she does. But at this time, we're going to introduce to some and share with others Miss Kim Pruitt.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm always excited to promote mental health, to talk about mental health, and because we as people, as human beings, need to focus on mental health. Like you said, I'm Kim Pruitt. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist here in the state of Texas, and I am also a certified clinical trauma professional. So, and uh, just a little bit of background about me. I worked in a school setting for several years, and as a trauma counselor, and I am also in private practice, and I've been in private practice almost 6 years now.
Right on, right on. So you are very experienced, correct?
Yes, yes.
I just want to share with the audience, so they know a little bit more about you too. I actually used Miss Pruitt some years ago, and I'm going to tell you guys it's very imperative to meet with a specialist, somebody that has studied the human mind, and someone that has hands on, not just somebody that's just talking out the side of their head. When you're professional, you can also take, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Kimberly, but
Mhm.
you can take your personal experience and apply that to the information that you receive. So I really trust that Miss Kimberly has a lot of good information. And so if anybody's out there struggling, anybody's out there, wondering, how to deal with some of the things that they're going through mentally, feel free to reach out to her and ask her any questions. I'm sure she wouldn't mind sharing her information. And as we always do at the end of the show, we'll give her an opportunity to share her platforms with you guys, so you can reach out to her after the show is over. So with
Yeah.
that being said, I want to dive right into it, Kimberly. I want to focus on getting from being unhealthy mentally to a healthy place. Because so many times, a lot of us will say that, especially in our culture, that, we're okay and, we don't need anybody to help us, or we'll pray about it, but I know firsthand that that's not always the case. You still need to meet with someone that can actually help you out. So, what are some of the things that you dealt with? When it comes to people actually breaking down some of the things that they're going through, and how are you able to help them? Get past that scary point where they don't want to share their information, but they're in your office, they're there, and you're there to help lead them out of the place that they're in to help.
Yeah, so that is an excellent start to this topic about mental health because there are a lot of stigmas that are involved with mental health. People have so many thoughts. A lot of times I'll hear like, "Oh, people are going to think I'm crazy," or you know, they're just going to put me on medication, or I don't want to talk to a stranger about my problems. Like so many things that go through people's head when concerning mental health, and or I don't want to be stigmatized or have this label. And so I want to just kind of define the difference between mental health and uh, a mental disorder before we get started into the conversation. So
Okay.
when you think about mental health, you think about this just kind of because everybody is familiar with physical health. You know, mental health is just like a state of being. Everybody has a mental health, just like everybody has physical health.
Mhm.
Not everybody, just because you are experiencing mental health issues, doesn't mean you will be diagnosed with a mental disorder. It's just like with somebody who, for example, when we look at the physical health, like if I fell out of a tree, um, I may break my arm. If I then I have a physical pain, a physical hurt because I broke
Mhm.
my arm. But and that's a physical issue that you have. But same way with mental health.
Mhm.
I may have something going on, but it doesn't necessarily mean I may be experiencing symptoms, doesn't but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'll be diagnosed. If I seek out treatment, that I'll be diagnosed with a mental illness. And I know people are afraid of those labels. Just because you are experiencing something that is mentally taxing on you does not necessarily mean that you will be diagnosed. There are certain criterias that we as mental health professionals use in order to diagnose or have, and certain things that you have to be tested and screened and do assessments on before you can be diagnosed with a mental illness. Now,
Okay.
I'll say this. If you are experiencing a mental illness, nothing to be ashamed of because it's no different than having a physical illness.
Okay.
I'm dealing with cancer or I'm dealing with something like this. But being mentally healthy starts with, recognizing. And I think that awareness piece is so, so huge. I always tell people when they come into my office, being aware there's something that may not quite be right. And there are certain things that can push us over the edge, push us to beyond our capacity or our skill level to be able to handle. And it's okay to go get help for those things. It may be emotionally exhausting or mentally exhausting, psychologically just draining. And so
Uh-huh.
it is okay to get help for those things.
And so with you saying that, what would you say would cause a person to be diagnosed as like schizophrenic, uh, suicidal, uh, I guess I would even say unhealthy to be in a romantic relationship based off of what you just stated.
So there are a lot of things that play into the diagnosis of, like what you said, schizophrenic or, um, you know, anxiety, depression, a lot of things that can play into those. Some of the things that are key when it comes to being diagnosed is, or that can trigger and bring those things up, like trauma. Trauma
Uh-huh.
is huge. And when we think about trauma, a lot of times people think, um, oh, it has to be like this big grand experience that, I have witnessed somebody get murdered or, but it doesn't necessarily have to be some grand experience that you have witnessed yourself. It can be, something that you like secondary trauma, like,
Okay.
or death in the family, like a tragic death in the family. Sometimes that's traumatic for people. And a lot of times, because, people pass away, that people feel like, oh, so and so just died and we move on with our lives. But that can be
Right,
a traumatic experience for somebody.
right,
Um,
right.
uh, with depression or anxiety, grief is a huge thing that can send people into experiencing either mental health symptoms or being diagnosed with mental illness. Um, Trauma, grief, uh, anything that overloads your psychological or mental capacity to be able to handle can
Okay,
send you to the point where you either one experiencing symptoms or two meet the criteria to be diagnosed with a mental
okay.
illness.
So with you saying that, so uh, let's say a person is, doesn't want to get the help, but they're affecting others around them due to what you just stated. They're grieving. They, have childhood traumas.
Hmm.
Like you said, a secondary trauma, like they witnessed abuse. They witnessed their mother going through abuse, their other siblings going through abuse. And let me throw this in, and or from those traumas, it led to death. It led to someone, getting killed. Um, how would you, as a professional, how would you say to the audience that, if you're dealing with these type of things, that you need to admit it, or you know tell someone that you need some help, or tell someone that, hey, I think that I may need to see somebody, I may need to see a specialist. How would you get a person that refuses to admit that they have these problems, or how would you get someone that's not used to admitting that they have a problem to come to the forefront?
To come to the forefront. So it's key. A lot of times when people are in situations where they don't want to either one admit or come to the forefront and say, hey, this is going on with me, a lot of times it's because of the fears are there, the fear of judgment, the stigmas. I'll be labeled, all the stuff that I kind of talked about in the beginning, people thinking I'm crazy. Those fears are there, and they
Yeah.
are very real to people, and we've seen them. And so I always encourage people, like, if those fears are there, to one, if you have somebody that like you trust, or just you can talk, that you feel like, okay, I can talk to, and maybe go, they can help you, like an outside source that you have that can
Yeah.
help guide you to get the professional help, not using that person as the primary person to try to seek therapy from, but using
Okay.
them to kind of support you and navigate you and direct you in a way that you seek for help for yourself. Just a lot of times, like, if those people are out there, just encouraging them. And
Uh-huh.
sometimes with yourself, if you are that person who's trying to encourage, like, hey, you know, I maybe sharing a story of yours, like, oh, I sought help and I had XYZ going on with me, if you feel comfortable. But at the same time, keeping in mind that you yourself, if you are that friend or, the coworker or whoever, boundaries for yourself and making sure that you are able to stay um, mentally stable and setting the boundaries that you need so it doesn't pull so much from you. And
Okay.
let me speak on this real quick. You mentioned one thing earlier, I think, about the suicidal
Yeah.
thoughts. Now, this step is a little bit different just because when people are suicidal, one of the things that is so key, their life literally is in danger, like at
Yeah.
that point if
Yeah.
somebody is suicidal. So you want to be direct. No, anytime asking a person, or if they are suicidal, or if they are thinking about killing themselves or harming themselves, is not going to put the thought in their head that, I need to go kill myself, because it's
Yeah.
probably already there. But it will open up the door, just asking, hey, are you
Yeah.
thinking about harming yourself? Are you thinking about killing yourself? Asking the question, and it can open up the door for them to be able to speak about, yeah, hey, I am feeling like this. So I want you to be very clear on that. Asking, if you think, I'd rather for somebody to be mad, mad at me about whatever, for the asking them the question and they're not suicidal, than they be suicidal and I didn't ask the question.
Right, right, right. So kind of coercing them into your care, your concern for
Yeah,
yeah, that you're noticing something, or uh let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about like a behavior uh of a person, again, from your expert opinion, that has showing you a sign that they're not their normal self, showing you signs that like for instance they're not eating as much, they're dazing off, at times of the day, they're just staring off into space. Let's talk about like that, because I know from a male's perspective, a lot of times we feel like we can't share those type of things with people because of what's expected of us in our society, in our culture. So what are some things, other than what I named, what are some things that you saw, or you've experienced in the process of helping someone open up, from an expert standpoint? How did they go into letting those walls down to let you actually deal with their problem?
yeah. So seeking mental health support and seeking treatment from a mental health professional, let me say this, it's a huge difference in, because I hear a lot of times people say, oh, I'm gonna just talk to my friend, that's my therapy, or I'm gonna do this, other stuff, that's kind of like my therapy. In a mental health setting, we have ways to help build the rapport that we need with the person. Like, that study showed that is one of the number one things that predicts the outcome of a successful treatment plan for people who come in, building that relationship. So it's not like you're going to come into the office and you're sitting in front of this person that you probably never met before, just talked to over the phone. And
Yeah,
it's not like we're going to come in and just force you to tell, like, you need, it's one of those things where we work as professionals to build a relationship with you as well, and making sure that we are a good fit for each other. And that's
okay.
ultimately, like, as a mental health professional, their goal is to make sure that the treatment outcome that you need, you get that. And so if me as a mental health professional is not a good fit for you, I'm okay with that. And I understand that. And across the board, mental health professionals, we understand, like, not everybody is going to be a good fit for us, but we try to connect with you in a way where you feel comfortable and you don't feel like, oh, I'm sitting across the seat from a stranger. And we have ways to be able to do that in connecting, with you, so you can open up and feel comfortable. Because a lot of times when people come in there, they're talking about their deepest, darkest, stuff, and that and their hurts and their pains, and they're in a very vulnerable place. And so we want to make sure creating a safe space, not just that connection. So that's one of the things, the connection, but also creating a space where they know I can speak about this and I won't be judged. I won't be
Yeah,
criticized. I don't have to fear, what somebody else hearing about what I'm getting ready to talk about. Like, a
yeah,
safe space for them.
yeah, yeah. Because as you talk, I'm sitting here reminiscing on one lady in particular. She's been in media, mainstream media, Dr. Iyanla Van Zant,
Hmm.
and I've noticed how she's been in a position to sometimes kind of lead them into sharing.
Hmm.
And I watched the attitude and the body language, of those people. And I don't know, maybe it's because they know that they're on live, a live show, that
Yeah.
sometimes, they don't want to say certain things. And I've even seen, speaking of you saying, creating a safe place, I've even seen where, she said, okay, well, let's break away. Let's go off. Let's talk about this. You just her and that person. And
Hmm.
so I feel like when a person that's dealing with some things mentally, when that happens, it does allow them to feel like they can open up. And I'm glad you said that too. That you don't force those people. That's the danger in us not having a professional outlook. That's the danger of us not having someone that can break away from how they personally feel to just, keeping it neutral. Because, when you talk about uh, family members, friends, coworkers, they have a tendency to know too much about you, to where that it affects and it influences their answer to what you're saying. And that's what I've been actually dealing with, talking about mental health, the help stage, people actually being in a position to say, well, I'm not a professional, but I know this person needs to seek professional counseling, and I know this person needs some help, and this person is affecting me in the process of them having this issue mentally.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we feel like, well, if they can't get the help or if they don't want the help, well, we'll give up on them. We'll give up on that person and say, oh, well, they just don't want to deal with their issue. But it's hard. Like you're saying, it's hard for a person to admit that, they're they're not rap tight. In other words,
Yeah.
uh, and I like to keep a little comedy on the show, but we make jokes about stuff like that. But I mean, it's a serious thing. I mean, a person may be about to lose it. They might be on the edge. And we don't want to create, causing them to just go on off on the deep end. By us continuing to perpetuate that we don't need help in our community. That we're just gonna pray about it. Like I said, we're gonna just deal with it from that perspective. But then that person can cause harm on their self, on you, because you don't know what that person is capable of at that point. At a point of them being mentally unstable, they're a danger to you and anything around them. So and that's why I want to introduce this, because I want us to get out of doing that. I want us to get out of just sweeping it under the rug, and trying to face day-to-day challenges. And we know indirectly or directly that we got some stuff that we need help with mentally,
Yeah.
and nobody around us can relate. So that's why I'm glad to have you on, because you can give this to us from a professional standpoint,
Yeah.
and not just somebody that is going through life and living life and feel like they have enough experience with their life, to give advice on what a person needs to do health wise,
Mhm.
mentally.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said, like, with the advice part, and it shows like this that help to promote and tear down the stigma, I think, is important. So all these different shows, and I'm noticing in this last year or so, like, mental health in a lot of areas is becoming more of a priority to people. and erasing the stigma about mental health because they are beginning to recognize. So I think shows like this, The Solution, that talks about solutions for, like, you go through these things, and when we talk about going through, you know, mental health issues, the first thing you have to be aware that, like, hey, something is going on, or somebody around you aware, like, something not quite right about what this person has experienced. A lot of times when you notice, like, when people are comfortable with unhealthy or situations, they have normalized
Oh, that's good.
dysfunction. And
Yes.
so when they normalize the dysfunction, um, they can continue on with it, and they feel like I'm okay until one day they're not. And it's like
Yes.
they just everything comes crashing down on them.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and a lot of times when we get people in our office, that's the state they're in. They have normalized the dysfunction in their life until one day it was no longer working for them.
Yeah.
And now they show up into our office, and you create that safe space because I, one thing you said earlier, I want to touch on this a little bit. You said pray about it. So we get a lot of times, and when I say this thing about praying about it, nothing against people using their faith. And I'll tell you just a little bit of disclosure about myself and counseling when it comes to the faith part, but nothing against people using their faith and praying about it. But if you tell somebody who is dealing with a uh like a physical illness, oh, you just broke your own arm, go to your room and pray about it.
Yeah.
Or you are dealing with cancer, just go pray about it. If that is the only element that you are using in order to help the person heal, then that is a very unhealthy way to approach the situation. you
Yes.
know
Yes.
and if you compare it to physical health, mental health is the same. If
Yeah.
somebody is experiencing mental illness or some type of mental health issue, and you just say, go, oh, just go pray about it,
Right.
or it's all in your head, just don't think about it,
Yeah.
then that is a very unhealthy way to approach the situation. You
Yeah.
want
Because yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No. No. I'm sorry. Yeah. No. You go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah. I got. Yeah. You made me think of something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, you can also, because, and this is just a little bit of disclosure for me, even as a mental health professional, a counselor, I have had to see a counselor myself. Dealing with various stages and traumatic events in my life. I went to go see a counselor, and she incorporated my faith into my treatment plan. So I was seeking out treatment from a professional counselor, but also she used my faith and with my permission to incorporate it into my treatment plan. And so
That's good.
whether you want to use your faith or not is okay, but to just tell somebody to just go pray about it, it seems kind of dismissive to it. You
Right.
can do both, or you can just seek the counseling.
Yeah. Because that's what I was alluding to. Yeah, and I'm glad you said it better than I presented it. Uh, that that's not the only form that you need to seek. So for our viewers, and I'm not saying that either. I'm not saying that a level of spiritual help is not needed, but when you feel like that's the only source, that's not going to solve every area of it, because it's almost like me and we use cars a lot, for example. So I'm gonna take this moment to use a car and implement it into what was just said. If you need an oil change and your oil light is on, you don't say, oh, I'm gonna just pray about it, because you need an oil change. So that car is designed to need that. So you got to seek the proper help to get that car running right. you can't just pray about it and then it's just gonna go away. And so that's why, that's not the only way, to get the help that you need, because there are other ways to seek the help that you need along with, spiritual advice or spiritual viewpoints or whatever. But I've heard that so many times, and I myself have witnessed and been a product of that, where I was either told to do that or I felt like that was the thing to do. But then here it is, you still dealing with the issue. You're
Yeah.
still dealing with it. It hasn't went anywhere, and you've done everything that you can do, and it's still there. So it's an old saying. I'm sure you heard it. I'm sure our listeners have as well. You know, that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, that's insanity.
Yeah.
That's insanity. And so you have to try something different. And so I'm glad myself too to see, like you said, that the last couple of years I saw a like awakening of people saying, well, I need to seek professional help. I
Yeah.
need to seek counseling. And then, other people have even started to open up about, like we're doing today, that they got help. They actually got somebody that could help them, an actual person that was qualified to do so. And so that's why this is such a good thing, because it allows people to see that they're not the only people that's going through it.
Hmm.
They're not the only ones that's dealing with things that nobody else don't know about. And actually, sometimes it's kind of like an AA meeting. You get to an AA meeting, and you see, somebody else going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And so you feel like, oh, now, I have somebody that I can relate to. But if you never expose yourself to that type of atmosphere or that arena, you'll feel like you're doing it by yourself. And so that's why it's good to share, because you never know who can help you. Now, I will say though, sometimes outside of seeking professional help, it's not good for you to share things with some people, because they'll take it and they'll use it to the betterment to make fun of you. And make it seem like, like I said earlier, people crack jokes about, things like that. But mental health, actually, in my opinion, you correct me if I'm wrong, you're the professional here. It starts to affect every area of your life. When you act like, oh, I'm not gonna say nothing, I'm not gonna do anything because these people are gonna laugh at me, or these people are gonna talk about me. And then you go into this shell, where you feel like you just can't relate to anybody.
Yeah.
So that's why it's good to talk, to people that you can trust. Or I want to even talk about that real quick, like finding people that you can trust. Finding people that you can open up to. Because that's a really hard thing for men to do. Men, we have a problem, myself included, to open up, because we do get scared that, this guy is gonna take this and look at me differently because I'm saying, man, I feel like giving up sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like throwing in the towel. And I know a lot of times when it comes to issues like this or topics like this, we have a tendency to focus on one area, like romance. But you have people that's dealing with childhood traumas that affect even their romance.
Yeah.
So it kind of leaks over into everything. When you have a mental issue, it doesn't just affect you as a person, it affects every area of your life, finance, even physical health. you
Yeah.
know um, and so we have to open up. We have to find better ways to talk about issues when it comes to our mental state of being. And so I'm glad to actually have someone, that deals with people all the time, and like you said, for the last 6 years, because you've actually seen, people open up and break out of their shell, and
Yeah.
then they become healthier people.
Yeah.
You know,
So I was going to say, you said a whole lot in there and all great things. One thing that stood out um, in there is how your mental health is connected to so many areas of your life, like your mental health being connected to the way you operate in your finances, your mental health being connected to your physical health, how
yeah,
you operate in relationships. Like your mental health is connected to so many areas of your life. Um, it is so important, I think, seeking out professional help. And a fear of a lot of people is like, what can they do for me that if I open up to this person, what can they do for me that I haven't already tried for myself? Or you know what just talking to this person, all I'm gonna do is sit down. I can go over here and talk to so and so. I don't need to talk to them. And
do
so
you
I
think
was,
that's
say it again.
I was gonna say, do you think that's like them deflecting?
Yeah, yes. A lot of times it's like a protective measure. People are very protective of, fear of being judged, fear of being stigmatized as being weak if I go out like or crazy or like those fears and using them as like to be able to protect those vulnerable spaces, you know, and not wanting to allow people in those spaces because you know it hurts, like to
Yeah,
have to peel back those layers, it hurts. And so which brings me to this point, seeking out as like one of those things to kind of help the mindset when it comes to mental health, and a reason why moving forward and seeking treatment if you need mental health treatment. And by the way, just a thought, you don't have to feel like have a disorder to go to treatment. You can just be having symptoms, experiencing symptoms to
that's
go out
good.
and say, like, man, I'm feeling real anxious a lot lately.
Yeah,
Maybe I need to go talk to somebody, or I wanting to haven't felt like my normal self. Maybe I need to go talk to somebody. You don't have to have like this history, a family history of mental illness or anything to go out and seek help. You can go out and seek help just for normal everyday issues that overwhelm you to the point where you can't you don't have the capacity to deal with it in your current state.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
what we do as mental health professionals, which is different from just, oh, I'm going over here and talk to my cousin or talk to my spouse or whoever, is we create one, the safe environment to help you to feel safe, but also give you tools, because a lot of times people are fearful, like, man, if I open up this wound, you know or start talking about this is going to bring up old memories, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just don't want to deal with that right now. And
yeah.
so we don't one thing is we don't pressure, like to pressure somebody and move them beyond a point where they're able to handle at that point. You don't want to re-traumatize somebody.
Ooh, that's good.
We give them the skills that they need to be able to stay within what we call this window of tolerance, to
Okay.
be able to handle and deal and confront. Like when you come into our office, you may not have those skills, you may not have those tools to be able to confront the issue. And that's why it seems so overwhelming and scary and big, and like, man, I can't deal with this right now. What we
Yeah.
do is we help you, and we help you to build on those skills and resources that you need to be able to confront and heal from whatever it may be that you're dealing with.
I'm glad you said that. We kind of been talking about it, but that was like one of my questions to ask you. What would qualify a therapist from a regular person that you may know from being able to give you advice. What is the difference in your opinion? What's the difference in just having someone to talk to versus a licensed professional?
Okay. And so one of the things when you talk about with therapists, you use the word advice. Like that is one of the things that we consider like a no-no in counseling sessions. We don't give out like advice. Like they'll tell you from day one in school, like we're not the person to give the advice to your clients. What
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do is you lay out a treatment plan to within the context of what they are dealing with. Because if you they can go get advice from the friend, the neighbor, or the friend down the street.
Yeah.
Anybody can give them advice, but you recognize like, okay, this is the context of this person's reality of their life.
Uh-huh.
And so how do I help them, one, build their resources so they can handle what they're dealing handle how to navigate, and then guide them through and kind of guide them through them navigating, and they are participants in their own healing process. When you give advice, it's just like I'm telling you, hey, you need to go do X, Y, and Z, and this is you know this is the outcome you'll get if you do, like, you know say one of your friends is having relationship issues, and you tell them like, girl, I wouldn't put up with that, or I wouldn't do this. This is what I would do, something like that. And it's like, no, that's not our role.
Yeah.
We are trying to understand the context of your experience. And this is the key thing about therapists. We have it's like that ability to be able to move in and out of the subjective and the objective, like
Okay.
moving in and out of your space back into a space where we can provide you and help you to navigate, like being sitting with you. When I say that, basically sitting with you in a space, in a vulnerable space, and experiencing, like as you tell your story or narrate, how sitting with you and being able to get a good understanding of what you're dealing with, and then taking a step back and
Uh-huh.
giving you unbiased, non-judgmental ways to help you navigate,
So so
navigate through
basically
this.
so basically you're saying that you guys professionals, you teach a person to do the work themselves.
Yeah, so something like that. You teach them, you give them the skills, and you help them build on those skills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because you never want somebody to become like dependent on you as the therapist to be able to navigate their
Gotcha.
life.
Gotcha.
You want, because it's their life, they have to live it. So it's one of those things you want to help build on and help them to be able to tap into their resources, you
Yes.
know,
Yes.
and empower them. That's the key
Right.
thing, empowering them to be able to move forward in their lives and living their lives, and not, you know, they're dependent on you and they can't make a decision without, you know, without you, because you're not going to be you're not available 24/7 as a
Right.
therapist.
Right.
So it's important to empower the people to be able
So
to move through life and navigate through life in a healthy
yeah.
way.
Yeah, because that's good. Talking about um control is the word that comes to my mind.
Oh,
Uh,
yes. Yeah.
you know, that's what let me say that's what we as people should look for, to be able to control our own life in a healthy way.
Hmm.
And see, that's to me what therapy does. It allows you the ability to control your life in a healthy way.
Yeah.
But like you said, kind of guiding a person that doesn't know how to do it to do it in an appropriate way. And see,
Yeah.
that's the issue right there. Like that's the issue that uh I myself have seen firsthand, and even with myself years ago, I felt like that was something that I could not control. I feel like, some of the stuff that I, you know, was allowing to happen. And again, mind you, I was allowing it to happen. So I had a form of some type of control, but I didn't know that I was the one that could change that. Because I hadn't seen, I hadn't, I hadn't sought out any other help other than what I thought I needed. And that kind of goes back into what I said earlier too. We have a tendency to doing that as people, to regurgitate the same thing that we've been doing,
Yeah.
and it's not working.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not gonna lie. While we're on the air, I noticed that with myself, and I'm quick to say, hey, I don't know everything,
Yeah.
so I realized, I was like, I started noticing it was affecting, people around me, because I wasn't saying anything to nobody.
Yeah.
I was just keeping it to myself. And I actually knew someone like that. Um, they call themselves suppressing issues and acting like they were still okay, but it started to be seen,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, I don't know how to deliver this cry of them needing to get help without damaging them, or
Yeah.
making them feel like I don't understand that you need the help. I may not understand how you need to get it, but I know that you need it. And so, that's why we have to be careful with, like you said, telling people what we would do if we was in their situation.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
well, their situation is not your situation. It may be similar, but it's not the same.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a very uh sticky subject, on dealing with your own mental state of being, and coming to a place where it even looks healthy to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know, why we continue to do that to people. Uh, we know sometimes we be messing up. We know we be damaging people. We know we, you know, be just saying stuff out the side of our head, and
Yeah.
just we don't have the answer to their problem, but we keep trying to say, oh, well, this is what you need to do, and then watch this, when it don't work out and they come back to you, it's like you don't have nothing else. But
Yeah.
and so that's the danger in attempting to help somebody, and you're not coming from an unbiased place,
Yeah.
or a place of a know-it-all. So, and I mean, you helped me with that, because I noticed that now. I don't want to tell anybody anything if I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
I was gonna say, like, with coming from like that space where as a professional, where you're able to kind of help people navigate when it comes to the biases. And I want to be very open and transparent about mental health professionals. It's not that we don't have biases. Sorry about that. But it's not that we don't have biases, but it's one of those things that we are very aware, and you really have to check your biases when you are in a situation or in with a client, because you want to make sure that your own biases, and that's another difference when it comes to seeking professional help, is that your own biases, you don't want your own biases, and you work hard not to have your biases interfere with the treatment program.
Yes, 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 yes. And
I'm trying to adjust my camera. Sorry about that.
oh, I apologize, uh, guys. She's having technical difficulties over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's why, like I said, you know, we have to start let people know that it's nothing wrong with saying that you need help mentally. I've seen so many people break down. Uh, let me see if I can explain this how so people can understand it. I've seen people act like they're strong. Oh, I think she cut out. But I've seen people act like they're strong, but then inside they're breaking down. And then I've seen it start to affect the people that they care about that's around them. And that's not good either. Uh, and so I don't know what happened to Miss Kimberly, but viewers, people, guys, ladies, seek out some help. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you have some issues and you need to talk to someone. Seek professional help. Uh, I was gonna ask Miss Pruitt to share while she was on some programs that you guys can go to. I know I have one of my viewers, Miss Adrian. I know she deals with this as well, but I want to provide outlets for people that can't afford to pay a therapist because it can become expensive. Not to say that it's not important because just like your physical health, your mental health is just as important. So but there are programs that you can get into, and there are numbers that you can call if you need help mentally. Don't try to go through this, by yourself. Don't try to deal with this by yourself. If you notice that, it's just something that you want to talk about, like Miss Pruitt shared, it may not even be major. It may not even be, you going through something from your childhood or anything. You might just want to have a professional's point of view on some of the decisions that you're making in your life. And so, it's okay to seek other outlets. Okay, she's back. Uh, Miss Pruitt, I was just sharing that I was going to ask you to share with the viewers some of the inexpensive ways to get help because I know it can be expensive to get help from a therapist, but I want you to share with the viewers how they can get the help that they need. And also, I know you were dealing with a time schedule here. At this time, I also ask you to share your information and share with them where you can be reached, and leave us with that.
Okay. So yeah, most definitely. My information is you can reach me at my website, which is www.lovepeaceandhope.org. That's www.lovepeaceandhope.org. And or you can on my Facebook or Facebook page. You could reach me the same thing, or at my number. My phone number is 832-598-6070, and I'm available for questions. That's 832. And I'll pass all this information on to you, uh, Baron, so you can post it. Also,
Okay.
other ways you can reach out to like your local, if you're here in the Houston area, you can reach out to like your local family service center. You can reach out to like Gulf Coast in the Galveston area. Like it's a variety. If you do a search for like mental health professionals or mental health in Google, do a search, you can reach out to so many different services. If you are a veteran, you can always go through like the VA or the vet centers to seek out mental health treatment, all different types of avenues that you can go, or you can reach out to one of the local people who are in private practice. And another thing, here's the thing: when COVID started, if you don't want to leave the comfort of your home to be treated, you can also do teletherapy. Like when COVID started, teletherapy became very big. So if you
Right
are
on.
having trouble getting to a location, then you can always do opt for teletherapy.
Okay. Okay, that's good. And it's not the local number 611 is that uh still available? Is that something
The
that's
six, I thought it was 211.
okay,
The
211, 211.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
Oh
the
yeah,
mental.
yeah,
Yeah, you can call that number.
yeah.
And in case, I'll say this, in case of emergencies, like if somebody is actively suicidal, meaning they're trying to harm themselves at that moment, 211, 911, reach out. Like if you need, take them to the
Immediately.
emergency room, like get
Yeah,
them somewhere that they can get
immediately.
the help that they need immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
immediately. Yeah. And well, I appreciate that. One more time, please. Can you repeat for our viewers and listeners once again how you can be reached?
Okay, the number is 832-598-6070. The website is www.lovepeaceandhope.org. And yeah, or you can email me at Kim. The email is Kim Pruitt at lovepeaceandhope.org.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm going to leave out with the our closeout remarks. I wish James was here, but I'm gonna do my best to shout him out in his absence. But James Hager can be reached at Strong Arm Security LLC and also Strong Arm Security LLC on Facebook and pretty much just about any platform he can be reached at the same name. He specializes in carry, bodyguard work. I'm trying to remember everything he does. James do a lot of stuff. Uh, Unarmed and armed security, private, security. So you guys reach out to him as well, and also, give him a shout out on his page. Strong Arm Security. He has a Facebook page, so you guys can reach out to him on that. If you need any type of, security, any type of contracts or whatever, any private parties and all that, they do it all. So, with that being said, and myself, I can be reached on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the same name, Barry Murphy. And Instagram is Barry Murphy 84. And also, I just started using my YouTube channel. You can find me in there under Solutions. So reach out to us. I'm not giving my number out like Miss Kimberly. She's a real professional. I'm gonna have to give me a line for everybody to reach out to us. But I can be reached on every platform under those names. If you need to reach out to me on Facebook, send me an inbox. I'll be glad to take your questions or your comments when it comes to mental health. Any topics, any questions you may have, reach out to me as well. Reach out to James. We would like to have your topic or your question on the show. And this month, we're going to talk about nothing but mental health. So I'm going to come back next week with the same topic. And I'm hoping that, you guys can share this information, like, subscribe, and share with your people that you know, your friends, your family members, anybody that you think may be going through something that can use this. Please share it with them. And until next time, it's Friday, y'all. Y'all be careful out here. Have a good time. Enjoy yourself. Don't do nothing too crazy that you can't live with. Drink responsibly. Oh, and also before I leave, I have two businesses that I want to advertise today. Preference dating app is a dating app owned by a black woman. She's right here in Texas. It's Preference dating app. She's the first black lady to own a dating app. If you need any information on that, you can reach her at Sabrina Williams. And what I like about it, I checked it out myself. What I like about the app is you have to create your own profile, but in the profile, you have to create a video so that you won't be catfishing anybody or anybody won't catfish you. And then also, I'm drinking my little drink here out of V Cut Cigars. This is a mobile cigar lounge. It's owned by a friend of mine. Her name is Mimi. We call her Mimi, but her name is Michelle. If you want any information on her, reach out to me. She's a black owned mobile lounge, uh, cigar mobile lounge lady, black owned. I think she's the first black owned mobile lounge by a woman. So you guys need any information on those two businesses, reach out to me. Let me know. Reach out to the names that I called out. I know James is not on here. He normally, type all that in for me and put it up here, but he's not on today. So if you guys want to get any of the information that was shared, if you have any questions and comments, like I said, please don't hesitate to share. And you guys have a good evening. Miss Kimberly, I appreciate you for coming on. We thank you, and you also have a good evening as well. Guys, till the next time, we out.